What is the next big thing coming from IVC?
So the next big thing is from our pilots collection. I am not sure if you're familiar with our squadron and our military programs we did. It's a very interesting collaboration we've been working on the last 3 years, and we developed basically pieces that are available only for pilots. These are pilots, professional pilots of the military, and they can purchase whenever they are like part of this squadron, or they finish, for example, obviously the Top Gun school, which is the fighter weapon school. They can purchase one of these special watches. You see?
Yep.
And these special versions, they always come with a little insignia of the school on the dial. And you have to engrave your name and the call sign on the back of the watch, so that we are sure they cannot be resold, and they are exclusively available for our pilots. And it's great because we're having a lot of demand, and we started obviously with the Sfti. It's the Strike Fighter Tactique instructors. And these are the pilots that graduate from the Top Gun school. And there was the first military version we did. It was 3 years ago, and they are all obviously now able to purchase this watch whenever they finish the Top Gun school. And as these pilots then always go back to their original squadron or to other squadrons, and they were wearing these watches, obviously suddenly there came a huge demand of other squadrons also to have their like personal watch that only these pilots can purchase. And it became like quite known also in collector circles. And obviously they always want to get one of these, like, you know, for pilots only watch. And that's why we really decided that we want to have one that is not for the pilot, but it is very close and inspired from this piece. That's why we developed the new version, which is called the Sfti, edition Sfti. And it takes up the same design code. We have beautiful details. We even have like a plane on the stop second hand, as you can see. Yep. We have this design code from the green strap, the black ceramic case, and we have black ceratanium pushers. So the whole watch comes in this beautiful all black design. And this one is now going to be available for the public. So the first time, really, the ones who were fascinated about all these stories and cooperations we did with the pilots will now have like the opportunity to purchase this watch and to also like basically become part of this like pilots family that we built up in the last years. It's a limited edition of 1,000 pieces, and we'll launch it in mid-October.
Tell me, Nicola, the pilot watch, the watch who only pilots can buy. Just to be sure, if I want to buy one, I'm not allowed.
No.
Okay, that's clear.
Graduate of this squadron.
I'm not. So I'm not allowed. Great, but they are all these pilots after they buy the watch. They are allowed to sell the watch. How do you handle this?
No, they are not allowed to sell the watch, and that's why we oblige them to engrave the name and the call sign, because they always have call signs in the military on the back of the watch. And like this, we want to make sure that they really cannot resell it to somebody else. And obviously, they are all registered also in our database with the watch that we sell them and the name, so that we can make sure that is really only exclusively for the pilots.
One last question regarding this watch. Should we expect Tom Cruise wearing this watch during the new movie Top Gun or not?
Well, we cannot talk about the movie yet. I mean, the movie is going to be launched next summer, and we cannot say anything about a possible cooperation. That's all I can tell you at the moment, unfortunately.
We all understood. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Great.
So, anything? Yeah, tell me more.
We have other very interesting pieces that I would like to show you. It's also on the pilots collection. And we were obviously revisiting our history. I'm sure you're familiar with the reference 3705.
Yes.
Let's watch 3705. It's our first chronograph that came in ceramic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the like most collectible pieces of IWC. There's also been an auction where we auctioned one of Günther Blümlein's 3705, which was a huge success. And since then, in the collectors community, they're very sought after, and a lot of people are looking for them. And that's why we decided to come up with a new re-edition. But obviously we didn't want to do exactly the same, but we wanted to like adapt it to today's technology, to all the innovation we have. And that's why we decided to come up with the same design, but using our new material, ceratanium. So you see very interestingly that we use the traditional hands, the font, exactly like the 3705 was. But then obviously instead of ceramic, now we have our latest material innovation, the fully black ceratanium, that is like the perfect combination between titanium and ceramic, because it's as tough and unbreakable as titanium, and it really doesn't scratch like the ceramic. And this piece is gonna be available later this fall. And it's going to be an online exclusive piece. So we're only going to sell it through e-commerce to really also push these channels. But we're quite confident that with this design and with all like the buzz we created around this piece, that it's going to be a huge success.
By the way, talking about this new material, can you explain for the people looking now to you, what is the difference? Because we saw different watch maison doing different combinations between ceramics and gold or other metals. What is specific to this new material? How is the technology in the limits of what you can say, of course?
Yeah, sure. So that's a very unique approach because, as you said, we see a lot in terms of ceramic. Gold infused ceramic, and so that, for example, Hublot is doing. But we were always a specialist for titanium. That we launched the first watch in titanium. I guess you remember that, the Porsche design watch. And then we are also the first company with ceramic, the zirconium oxide ceramic that we launched on the Da Vinci in that time. And now we really managed to have this both material combined in one. And the big difference is that the base of this material is a titanium alloy. So you can really start working it as a titanium alloy, and you can like shape the case. It's not like a powder that you have to press and sinter with a ceramic, but it's a titanium alloy. And then it has that zirconium infused in this alloy already. And then you can bake it. And then the forms via diffusion, forms this ceramic layer on top of it that you cannot scratch off or you cannot come off. It's not like a coating, but it's really part of the material. I always compare it to basically a bread. Like the crust is like formed out of the bread, and that's exactly the same idea we have here. And then we really have the perfect material that cannot break because it has a titanium inner part. It's quite light and it doesn't scratch because the surface then is ceramic.
By the way, how thick is that ceramic layer at the surface of the titanium case? 0. What millimeters? It should be very, very, very thin.
Yeah, it's very thin, but you cannot even say because it forms basically during the baking process. And the longer you bake it, the more it forms. And it's not like a layer, but it's, you know, really like by diffusion. So it starts and then it starts getting caramelized, like the ceramic outside. So it's not a layer that you can take off. And that's why you can also not say the exact yeah, height of it. But it's obviously at the surface that this thing happens. But the real advantage is that it cannot like, yeah, be scratched off like other like coatings. And
Thank
that's
you very much.
a unique thing of IWC. And we're very happy that we were able to like introduce this, because it's a huge material innovation for us. And we're really, yeah, thinking about building all our new iconic pieces that we have on ceramic, for example, that we're going to make them available also on Ceratanium. So it's really the new material for us.